Alright, so today we're going to talk about yet another one of those insane situations that you'll only catch live, only catch within these weird streamer communities. So for those of you who don't know who this is an individual known as Mang0. Mang0 has been popular in the Smash circuit for quite a long time now. He's been around since like the mid-2000s. He became super popular in the Smash community for being one of the greatest players of all time, or at least some people would say that. Recently, he's been facing quite a bit of controversy, and well-deserved, I might add. But how did this even happen? So Mang0 was recently invited to Ludwig's Mario Kart event, and well, I'll let the following clips explain for themselves.
See, we're not drunk, guys. Yeah, we're not drunk. But Mang0, on the other hand, no. He's humping toes. No.
End the stream. End it.
End the stream, Mang0 says.
End the stream.
I know that I blurred it, but for those of you who haven't seen these clips yet, I know most of you probably have at this point. But what he's doing is that he's essentially dry humping the air and putting a cap between his groin and the face of another woman. And you can just see how uncomfortable she is. You can just see how like grossed out she is at this. I know they start laughing shortly after this. He's like, end stream. But what can you really do in a situation like this where there's some guy acting like a complete lunatic, complete fool behind you, besides just laugh?
You're gonna give me a full shot? That's fine.
Is it like good? Like we have something or no?
No, it's good. It's good.
What are you doing?
I mean, this one kind of speaks for itself. He's being a little bit of a creep in the background. He goes up to her and then starts doing that right next to her body, only for her to get immediately agitated at that. Me personally, this is gonna sound really short-fused. You can call me short-fused, but in a situation like this, I would have lost it. Huge respect for this woman. I don't know who she is, otherwise I'd name her. Huge respect to her for maintaining her composure.
Quiet down. You trying to do thug round or no? Man.
Mang0's humping Emily.
I'm not.
That's okay. Okay, I'm ready to play.
Emily, get it.
In this clip, he gets right up to extra Emily's face, her camera, and humps the air. It's completely inexcusable, disrespectful, unacceptable behavior that no man in a situation like this should ever engage in. You can even see that one of the guests tries getting his attention elsewhere and tries diverting him somewhere else. But no, he's so committed to this that he comes back, starts sitting on the couch, and proceeds to dry hump the air on the couch. I can only imagine that if this situation wasn't so public, being broadcasted, and if it wasn't packed full with creators and other individuals, the reactions probably would have been a lot different.
Hi, Mang0.
What are you pulling her hair?
Mang0, you're so silly.
Don't beat her ass.
You guys are amazing.
Look, even Ludwig, which on the internet seems to be, or is at least believed to be, somebody who's non-confrontational, is getting in there and telling this guy to stop and like pushing him away. Honestly, I wish Ludwig would have gone harder here, but I understand why he didn't. He's obviously protecting the sanctity of his event here. It's understandable that someone would show a level of restraint to avoid causing more of a scene. This next clip is just diabolical, though.
Who's that, Mang0?
Mang0, final words. Final words.
Ludwig's gone. Kaya's gone. Zoya's gone.
Oh.
Those three are gone.
Final words. Ooh.
I literally just I want it that way.
Wait, should kids do drugs? Okay, all right.
At this point, he's like not even trying to restrain himself. The only thing between him and her is literally a cardboard cutout. The other times, there was at least a foot or a couple of feet between the individuals of distance. In this case, no, there is no distance. It's literally just a cardboard cutout preventing what could potentially be a significantly more uncomfortable experience. Of course, this was not met without contest. This is what Ludwig had to say the next day.
So I feel really bad about that. And, you know, I reached out to anyone who I felt might have felt uncomfortable and talked to them. But also, and I already told Mang0 this, I'm no longer inviting Mang0 to Mogul Moves events. Because, like, you know, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like, the whole point of an event is, like, it's a fun thing to do, have a good-ass time. And if somebody appearing jeopardizes somebody else having a good time, that just can't be a thing. Now I see a lot of dialogue on like broader implications. I'm only worried about my team, my events. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't speak for the Melee community. I'm not like championing any other action.
Now, I'm not a big fan of Ludwig. I think he's kind of a pushover. But at least in this response, I think he did a good job. Everything he said was definitely appropriate and fair, especially given the fact that Ludwig invited him to his event. There are some criticisms to be made of Ludwig here as well though, but I'll just showcase these tweets instead as I don't want to rip their talking points word for word. Sick Unchained made a tweet saying Mang0's wife is deleting tweets exposing Ludwig Aron for encouraging Mang0's drinking, despite saying he was too busy running the event to notice how wasted Mang0 was. Attached is this compilation of tweets by a user known as Big Hat Lala saying, but since I'm not bound by shit as a civilian, Ludwig Aron, I watched you on stream asking for Mang0 to take shots. Of course, your little teeny bopper viewer wants to pretend that never happened. People were vomiting at your event, and you never once decided to pull the plug. You not only encourage drinking, you also love the downfall of your friend as views for funsies. I hope you enjoy your grace for banning Mang0 while encouraging him to get wasted. Now, in my opinion, to hold Ludwig accountable for the actions of another man, of other people, is a bit over the mark, but I do think that he at least bears some responsibility in managing his event well to try to avoid situations like these from occurring. Also, to imply that Ludwig enjoy the downfall of his friends for views is a bit much. There's also this exchange in the comments of said tweet that I'd like to showcase to give more of a back and forth. Jamar says, she's blaming Ludwig for peer pressuring a grown man. He's 33 with a child. Surely he's mature enough to make his own decisions. If that's not the case, she desperately needs to reevaluate her taste in men. And then Sick replies with, no, she's calling out Ludwig because he put out a statement saying how he was too distracted to notice how bad Mang0 was, despite being one of the main agitators for the excessive drinking. It's fundamentally different. We've all had DDs before and people who look out for us when we're drunk. And for the person running the event to wash their hands clean when Mang0 was doing this the entire event shows a lack of character in Ludwig, which, honestly, I'm sort of inclined to agree. Catsy responds with, there's a clip where Aiden, Nick, and Stans can see him making a girl uncomfortable, and when she asks for help, they do nothing. Honestly, just a total failure. I get that no one wants to be the wet blanket or whatever, but these guys preach online about being pro-woman, which I understand. There's levels of hypocrisy here. Of course, Mang0 made a few responses the morning after. Mang0 says, hate waking up and seeing I was a drunk dumbass. Don't like using drunk excuse because it's childish, but in the moment, I think everyone is as drunk as me, and that's usually not the case. I will privately apologize to anyone I made uncomfortable and hope I'm forgiven. He posts another tweet shortly after where he says, I feel very stupid and embarrassed. Think like 99% of my problems always stem from drinking, so I'm going to reevaluate my relationship with alcohol. I'm not downplaying anything. I know I'm dumb and know better. I will accept any consequences that come my way. Mang0 then makes another follow-up tweet where he says, couldn't sleep, feel like I let so many people down, talked to a few friends and just realized I have a problem. Everyone has coddled me for so long, and I kind of looked the other way when it came to my drinking. Don't want anyone to feel bad for me or defend me. Sorry to everyone I've let down or hurt. I know it looks like I'm trying to save face, but I genuinely feel so awful about it. All I've done is reflect on my life and realized I'm a broken human. I will try and redeem myself over time as I always do. I'm gonna stop drinking immediately and get it together. Sorry that I'm a screw-up, but I will and can be better. Around this time, a lot of criticisms broke out against Mang0, and there's one tweet that caught a lot of people's eyes. I'll show that to you real quick. An individual known by Beluka posts this tweet saying, Loki reminds me of when Mang0 tried to kiss me at the Genesis after party in front of my man before we had to pull him out of the road. Then they proceed to drop a story in a chain of tweets after the fact, trying to explain the allegation, addressing the Mang0 situation. So it's Genesis X2. Me and my friends all finished watching Melee and Ultimate Top 8, get food, and then go to the after party. We're there for like 10 minutes before my group is tired and wants to go back to the Airbnb before our flight tomorrow. While waiting outside, we see Mang0. This was the same night he was arrested on Twitter, quote unquote. But it was before that. He's in the road, so me and my friends pull him out of the road, to which he then comes up and hugs everyone. When he gets to me though, he leans in super close, to the point my back is almost fully bent and I'm taking steps walking back. He eventually stops and then walks off. All this happened in front of my friends, and everyone immediately said something about it. During this time, he was visibly wasted, and shortly after, we left. For everyone asking why I didn't speak up when it happened, I was uncomfortable and thought it was a one-time thing, but with recent light shed on this behavior, I posted now. Screenshot of me talking about it the night of with the date below. Now here's a screenshot that somewhat shows or displays that this story isn't coming out of nowhere. However, I would take some of these allegations with a grain of salt. Who knows how real they are? Who knows how false they are? Come to your own conclusions. Also, there's this ironic set of tweets that resurfaced from back in 2024 where Mang0 states, blaming the alcohol is always the easy way out as someone who has done it, but eventually you realize it's really always up to you. blacking out and not remembering shit was hilarious when I was younger until I hit a certain age and realized, damn, that's not funny at all. Just gotta look at your relationship with alcohol for like 10 minutes, and I think it's pretty easy to see if you can drink responsible and have a good time, or maybe it's not for you. And I'm never one to chime in on things, but whenever alcohol is the focal point, I feel like I always eventually get weirdly attacked for some reason. I mean, given that these chain of tweets were only a year ago, when you really contrast that with what he's been saying recently after this whole Ludwig situation, it really feels like a slap in the face. Because ideally, especially within a year's time, you would assume that a person like this would know better, but it appears that that's not the case. Of course, to wrap up the story, I do have to mention that Cloud9, the team that he's been partnered with for 11 years, did ultimately decide to drop him. Now, there was a lot of discourse within the Smash community stating that this was an overreaction. There's a couple of people externally that are looking into the situation and are saying that him being dropped is an overreaction, but honestly, and this is my opinion, you can feel free to disagree, I think that this is one of those rare situations out of so many different cases we've seen in the past where the punishment is definitely appropriate. Now, I'm typically not one to say that or express that in my videos, but in this case, I do feel like it is justified. And that wraps up the Mang0 situation between the last 48 hours. Thank you for watching. Feel free to disagree with my takes if you'd like. Leave a dislike, leave a like, don't care. I'll see you guys later.